I had been married to Adrien for 3 years. Even though I loved him so much that I knew he was just deceiving me, I still agreed to the divorce. On the day his first love returned to the country, the entire city was illuminated with brilliant fireworks. He booked the whole Disneyland just to make her smile. To give that woman a sense of security, he not only publicly humiliated me but also cut off the funding for my orphanage. Finally, he got what he wanted and was about to marry the love of his life. And I died on that snowy night when he got engaged to his first love. I stood barefoot in the snow, looking at the brightly lit courtyard of the Gu family, still determined to see him one last time after death. I stiffly pressed the doorbell, and as the door opened, a cold wind mixed with joyous laughter rushed towards me. Seeing Adrien in the hall holding Lydia's hand and cutting the cake, I lowered my eyes and let out a bitter laugh. Adrien instinctively shielded Lydia behind him and walked towards me with furrowed brows. A delicate engagement corsage was pinned to his chest, strikingly red. His eyes were full of disgust. "What are you doing here? If it's for money, I'll have my assistant transfer it to you. Don't embarrass yourself here." I stepped back, letting the snowflakes fall on my scarred body. "Adrien, you're really something. I gave my life to you, and yet you're celebrating this day. Do you know that today is my first 7 days after death?" Adrien reached out to grab my arm and drive me away, but he grasped nothing. He looked at his empty palm, furrowing his brows. "Nina? Don't play tricks. You're clearly right here." "Where?" "I've been dead for a week, Adrien." "Nina, you're quite good at this holographic projection trick, aren't you?" Adrien withdrew his hands stiffly hanging in the air, the astonishment on his face fleeting, replaced by deeper contempt. He was convinced I was playing a trick. Indeed, for money, I had begged him and knelt before him in the past. In his eyes, I was just a shameless bootlicker with no limits for money. Lydia, protected behind him, poked out half her head. "Adrien brother, is sister still blaming me? To avoid making sister angry, maybe we should cancel our engagement party?" She spoke with a sobbing tone, every word fanning the flames. Adrien snorted coldly, turned around, and gently wiped the tears from the corner of Lydia's eyes. "Cancel what? The more she doesn't want me to be happy, the more I'll marry you in grand style. As for her..." Adrien turned back, his gaze sinister as it swept over my transparent body, sneering at the air. "Since she likes playing ghosts, let her stand in the snow long enough. Pass the order, turn the villa's heating to maximum. Without my permission, no one is to open the door for Nina. I want to see how long this high-tech projection can last." The door slammed shut with a bang, shutting out the swirling snow and me from that seemingly warm world. I floated in the air, looking at the tightly closed carved door, feeling no ripple in my heart. "Adrien, you probably forgot. I'm an orphan. Who in the world would spend a fortune to make a holographic projection for someone like me with no parents? Only the dead require no cost." Inside the villa, the heating was indeed very strong. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I saw Adrien take off his suit jacket, wearing only a white shirt with sleeves rolled up, attentively feeding Lydia cake. Lydia laughed uncontrollably, with cream smeared on her lips. Adrien indulgently lowered his head and kissed away the sweetness from the corner of her mouth. That scene pierced my soul with pain. Once upon a time, I had fantasized about such a moment. The day I was diagnosed with late-stage stomach cancer was also such a snowy day. I wanted to eat a bite of warm cake and begged him for a long time. But he said, "Nina, do you deserve it? Lydia is still lying in the hospital, and all you think about is eating cake. You're so selfish it disgusts me." That day, he threw me on the highway and made me walk home on foot. I walked while vomiting blood. The snow fell on the bloodstains, quickly covering them, just like my humble love for him, which couldn't see the light and left no traces. Now, I finally don't have to beg him anymore. I floated into the house, sat on the crystal chandelier opposite them, swinging my feet and watching the show. Adrien suddenly frowned, subconsciously touching the back of his neck. "Why does it suddenly feel a bit cold?" Lydia shrank into his arms, coquettishly saying, maybe sister's resentment outside is too strong. Adrien brother, why not, have the security check? Adrien coldly took out his phone and dialed the security room. Go to the door and see if that crazy woman is still there. If she is, hose her with water to wake her up. Hearing this cruel command, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Laughing and laughing, my eyes felt extremely dry. Adrien, you're really ruthless. Even for a dog raised for 3 years, there would be some affection, right? Not to mention I was your wife who donated a kidney for you and blocked a knife for you. The security quickly called back, voice trembling. Adrien, there's no one at the door. On the snow, not even a footprint. Adrien's hand gripping the phone tightened suddenly. No one? He stood up abruptly, the chair scraping harshly on the floor. Impossible. She was clearly standing there just now. Such a big living person, how could she vanish into thin air? Lydia was startled by his reaction and cautiously pulled his sleeve. Adrien brother, perhaps, sister saw there was no show and left early? People like her cherish their lives the most, how could she really freeze in the snow? Adrien took a deep breath, seeming to think Lydia made sense. He sat back down, but his face remained terribly gloomy. It's best if she left, saves the eyesore. Although he said that, I noticed his gaze frequently turning to the window. That look wasn't worry, but the irritability of prey escaping control. In the past, no matter how he drove me away, I would stick to him like sticky candy. Because I was afraid that if I turned around, I would never see him again. Because I knew my time was limited. But now, I've really left, completely and utterly. The banquet continued. All the city's elites came to support, with elegant attire and clinking glasses. Everyone complimented Adrien and Lydia as a match made in heaven. No one remembered that 3 years ago, Adrien was here too, holding my hand, promising to take care of me for life. Back then, there was light in his eyes. But since Lydia returned, that light turned into a blade piercing me. Adrien, this is a gift I specially prepared for you. Lydia took out an exquisite velvet box, opened it, and inside was a uniquely designed tie clip. Engraved on it were the initials meaning we would be together forever. Adrien smiled and took it, immediately wanting to switch it on. He removed the original old tie clip and casually threw it into the nearby trash bin. At that moment, my soul felt as if it was torn apart in excruciating pain. That old tie clip was custom made by a master after I sold the jade bracelet left by my grandmother and traveled half the world. For that jade bracelet, I was beaten half to death by my uncle's family. When I gave it to him, he clearly said it was his amulet. Now, the amulet had become garbage. Just like me. I floated to the trash bin, my ethereal fingers trying to touch the tie clip, but they passed right through. Forget it. Anyway, the person is dead, what use are these material things? At that moment, Adrien's phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. He originally didn't want to answer, but for some reason, he inexplicably pressed the answer button. Hello, are you Nina's family? A businesslike male voice came from the other end, with noisy background sounds, like in a hospital, or like in. Adrien furrowed his brows and impatiently interrupted. What happened to her again? If it's for money, let her come tell me herself. Don't find some random people to act, I don't buy this. There was a 2-second silence on the other end. Sir, this is the South City crematorium. While clearing the snow, we found a female corpse clutching your business card. Please come to claim the body. The music in the hall seemed to stop in that instant. Adrien froze in place. Lydia noticed something wrong and leaned over to listen to the phone. Adrien brother, who is it? Is it sister coming up with some new trick again? Adrien suddenly snapped back, his face ashen as he hung up the phone. Scammer. He gritted his teeth, squeezing out these 2 words. Scam tactics these days are getting more outrageous, even daring to curse her death? Nina, that pest, has a life tougher than a cockroach, how could she die? He slammed the phone heavily on the table, with such force that the screen cracked. Lydia patted her chest, looking like a frightened little rabbit. Exactly, sister even sent me a text cursing me yesterday. How could she, today? It must be a prank. I glanced at Lydia. Yesterday? Yesterday I was already lying in the snow, my body stiff. That was a text she forged herself to smear me in front of Adrien. She played such tricks tirelessly. And Adrien always believed without doubt. Ignore her, continue. Adrien picked up his wine glass and downed it in one gulp. The spicy liquor slid down his throat but couldn't suppress the inexplicable panic surging in his heart. He began frequently checking his watch, his phone, even shaking his leg. This was his behavior when extremely anxious. I floated beside him, looking at his feigned composure, feeling only irony. Adrien, what are you afraid of? Afraid that I'm really dead? Or afraid there's no one left to be your punching bag, no one to come at your beck and call? The banquet finally ended. Guests dispersed, and the villa returned to a deathly silence. Lydia clung to Adrien, wanting to stay overnight, her fingers drawing circles on his chest. Adrien brother, tonight. I won't leave, okay? Normally, Adrien would have gone along with it. But today, he irritably pushed Lydia away. Have the driver take you back, I have business to handle. Lydia was stunned for a moment, resentment flashing in her eyes, but she quickly put on an understanding mask. Okay, then Adrien brother, don't overwork yourself, I'll worry. After Lydia left, Adrien didn't go to the study to handle any business. He paced back and forth in the living room like a caged beast. Finally, he picked up the cracked screen phone and dialed my number. Sorry, the user you dialed is powered off. The cold mechanical female voice echoed in the empty living room. Once, twice, 10 times. Adrien finally exploded, slamming the phone to the ground. Nina. You're good. Really good. Playing hide and seek with me? Fine. Let's see how long you can hide. He rushed to the entrance, grabbed the car keys, and dashed out. I thought he was going to find me. Instead, he drove to the bar we used to frequent. He sat in the booth, downing drink after drink, soon surrounded by a flock of women. Adrien, why alone tonight? Heard you're getting engaged, congratulations. Adrien pulled over a woman who looked somewhat like me, drunkenly pinching her chin. You also think my engagement is good news? The woman laughed coquettishly, pressing against him. Of course it's good news, that Nina occupied Mrs. Gu's position for so long, she should have stepped aside long ago. Yes, heard she's just a gold digger who only asks for money. How does she deserve you, Adrien? The echoes of agreement rose one after another. Adrien listened and suddenly laughed, laughing until tears came out. Yes, she doesn't deserve it. She's just a bitch. For money, she'd do anything. While cursing, he scattered large handfuls of cash from his wallet. Whoever curses nicely, this money is yours. That night, the entire bar echoed with insults towards me. I sat opposite him, watching him celebrate getting rid of me in this way. Adrien, you so hoped for me to disappear. As you wish. This time, I really won't come back. The next morning, the hungover Adrien was awakened by a rapid ringtone. He rubbed his throbbing temples, answered the phone, his tone irritable. Who? Don't want to work anymore? On the other end was his assistant, voice laced with undisguised panic. Adrien, bad news. The orphanage called, saying the dean passed away this morning because there was no money for surgery. Adrien sobered up halfway. What, no money? Didn't I transfer money to Nina every month to fund the orphanage? Where's that money? Did she embezzle it? The assistant stammered, not daring to speak. Speak. Cat got your tongue? Adrien roared. Adrien, you forgot? Half a year ago, Miss Lydia said Nina used the funding to buy luxury goods, and in anger, you stopped the funding. You also said to let Nina figure it out herself. If she really cared about those children, she'd even sell blood to gather the money. Adrien was stunned. Memories flooded back. There was such a thing. That day, Lydia showed a photo of me in the mall, saying she saw me buying the latest limited edition bag. Actually, that day I was working as a counter lady part-time, and the bag was for displaying to customers. But he didn't listen to explanations and directly cut off the orphanage's funding chain. That was meal money for dozens of children at the orphanage and also the dean's life-saving money. I knelt before him begging for a day and night, my forehead bruised from kowtowing. Yet he held Lydia and humiliated me. "Nina, your acting is really good, it's a pity you didn't become an actress. Want money? Fine, go accompany my clients for a few drinks, if they're happy, maybe I'll reward you some." Later, I really went. Drank until gastric bleeding, until sent to the emergency room. What I got in return was his even more contemptuous gaze. "Nina, you're really cheap." Adrien's hand holding the phone began to tremble, his face instantly turning pale. Then, that dean really? Absolutely true, the orphanage is in chaos, the children are crying looking for Sister Nina. "Adrien, there's one more thing." The assistant paused, voice lower. "When checking accounts, we found Nina has no assets under her name, even the marital home was mortgaged by her. The mortgaged money was all transferred to the orphanage's account. Moreover, in her rental room, we found a late-stage stomach cancer diagnosis. The date is half a year ago." Boom, Adrien felt something explode in his mind. Half a year ago? Wasn't that when he cut off the funding and forced her to accompany drinks? Wasn't that when Lydia returned, and he started madly retaliating against her? So, she had been holding on all along. So, every time she said it hurt, it wasn't a lie. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Adrien stumbled out of the bar, even losing a shoe. He didn't believe it. This must be another scheme by that woman Nina. She was best at using self-harm tactics. He drove the car, madly rushing to the central hospital. Ignoring the nurse's blocks, he burst into the attending doctor's office. "Where's Nina? Call that liar Nina out for me." He grabbed the doctor's collar, eyes bloodshot, like a beast that lost reason. The doctor pushed his glasses, coldly looking at him. "What are you to the patient?" "I'm her husband." "She's not dead, right?" "She must be hiding." The doctor sighed, took out a file from the drawer, and threw it at his face. "Husband? When she was in agony from chemotherapy, where were you? When she had no money for painkillers and could only bite a towel to endure, where were you? Mr. Adrien, you're coming to find her now. Do you want to collect her body from the morgue?" "Oh no, her body isn't even here. She signed a body donation agreement, but due to suspicious cause of death, it was taken by the police. Just last night." Adrien looked at the medical records scattered on the ground. They densely recorded every chemotherapy, every rescue. And that shocking death notice copy. Time, yesterday early morning. Cause of death, hypothermia, multiple organ failure. Adrien's legs weakened, and he knelt heavily on the ground. Clutching that paper tightly, a shrill roar came from his throat. "Nina!" Lydia's call came. "Adrien brother, where are you? My stomach hurts so much, like I ate something bad yesterday." The voice was still coquettish, with habitual whining. In the past, Adrien would have rushed back anxiously. But now, this voice was grating to his ears. "Stomachache? Perfect, I'm at the hospital, come over." Lydia hadn't detected anything wrong and happily agreed. Half an hour later, Lydia appeared at the hospital, dressed up glamorously. She was about to throw herself into Adrien's arms but was choked by him. "Adrien brother, what are you doing?" Lydia's eyes widened in terror, her hands desperately slapping Adrien's arms. Adrien's eyes were full of red veins, his expression ferocious like a vengeful ghost. "You said Nina used funding to buy bags, where's the bag? You said Nina faked illness for sympathy, what are these medical records? Lydia, how many things have you lied to me about?" Lydia was choked breathless, her face turning liver-colored. I didn't, it was Sister she." "Shut up. Adrien flung her away fiercely. Lydia fell embarrassingly to the ground, scraping her knees. Even now you're splashing dirty water on her? Lydia, how did I not notice before that your face is so disgusting? Lydia ignored the pain, crawled over, hugged Adrien's leg, and wailed. Adrien brother, I was wrong, I really didn't know sister was so ill. I just love you too much, I was afraid of losing you, so I. Love me? Adrien sneered, squatted down, pinched Lydia's chin, forcing her to look at the medical records on the ground. Loving me means forcing my wife to death? Loving me means cutting off the livelihood of dozens of orphanage children? Your love really makes me nauseous. At that moment, 2 uniformed police officers came over. You're Adrien, right? Regarding the case of the deceased Nina, you need to come to the police station with us to cooperate with the investigation. Additionally, the deceased's family refuses to claim the body. You're her legal husband, please go to the crematorium to handle the procedures. The deceased's family refuses to claim? Adrien was stunned. My uncle's family, the so-called relatives, had long treated me as a cash cow. Sucked my blood when alive, when dead, probably thought it unlucky, not even willing to collect the body. Fine, I'll go. Adrien stood up, straightened his disheveled collar, his back looking particularly desolate. Lydia wanted to follow but was stopped by the police. This miss, we've also received a report that you're suspected of fraud and slander, please come with us too. Adrien didn't look back at Lydia. He was like a walking corpse, following the police into the car. I sat in the back seat of the police car, watching the scenery flash by outside the window. This road leads to the South City crematorium. It's also the road to my final destination. Adrien, you're finally going to see me. Unfortunately, it's too late. The crematorium's morgue was chillingly cold. Adrien stood at the door, his legs like lead, unable to move. The staff impatiently urged, hurry up, there are people waiting behind. Adrien trembled as he pushed open the heavy iron door. The moment the white cloth was lifted, he vomited directly. Not because of disgust, but due to extreme physiological stress. The person lying on the iron bed was emaciated to skin and bones, almost unrecognizable. The body was covered in bruises, all from frostbite and bumps. The most glaring was the winding scar on the wrist. That was left from selling blood on the black market to raise startup funds for him. And the hideous surgical scar on the abdomen. That was from 3 years ago, when he had a car accident with ruptured kidney, and I unhesitatingly gave him my own kidney. He always thought the one who saved him was Lydia. Because Lydia bribed the doctor to take credit for my deed. And I, because of losing half a kidney, my health deteriorated, eventually turning into stomach cancer. Adrien knelt by the iron bed, trembling hands wanting to touch my face but not daring. As if one touch would shatter me. Nina, are you a pig? So many wounds on your body, why never tell me? Aren't you good at talking? Don't you love tattling the most? Why didn't you say this time? He cried like a child, tears and snot covering his face. Get up. Get up and curse me. Didn't you say you'd cling to me for life? It's only been a few years and you're breaking your word? Responding to him was only deathly silence. And my indifferent gaze floating in the air. Adrien, I told you. I said it hurt, you said I was being dramatic. I said I didn't take the money, you said I was hypocritical. I said Lydia was a liar, you said I was jealous. I said it thousands of times, it was you who plugged your ears and covered your eyes. Now acting affectionate to a corpse, for whom to see. Just as Adrien was crying nearly to fainting, a person looking like a lawyer came in. Mr. Adrien, my condolences. I'm the lawyer entrusted by Miss Nina before her death. Here is a will, and a letter, left for you. Adrien grabbed the envelope like a lifeline. The envelope was thin. Inside was only a sheet of letter paper and a bank card. That was the supplementary card he gave me before, I hadn't touched a penny. On the letter paper, only a few words. The handwriting was scrawled, showing I was in great pain when writing. Adrien, this life was too bitter, in the next life, let's not meet again. Wish you and Lydia 100 years of harmony, childless and heirless. Also, remember to return my kidney. Even if burned to ash, I find it dirty. After reading, Adrien spat a mouthful of blood on the white cloth, dyeing my pale cheek red. No. I won't allow it. Nina, in life you're mine, in death you're my ghost. You want to sever ties with me? No way. He madly tore the letter paper to shreds, stuffed it into his mouth and swallowed. As if this way, he could retain my last trace. Bring Lydia to me. I want her to kneel here, kowtow and confess to Nina. Adrien's eyes were blood red, roaring at the air. At that moment, the killing intent in his eyes was more bone-chilling than the morgue's cold air. Lydia was dragged in by 2 bodyguards. She was still throwing tantrums at the police station, not expecting to be forcibly taken by Adrien's people. Upon entering the morgue and seeing the corpse, Lydia screamed in fright, desperately shrinking back. Ah! Ghost! Take it away! Take it away quickly! Adrien grabbed her hair, pressed her face harshly against the iron bed edge, forcing her to look directly at my corpse. Ghost? Didn't you say she was faking? Open your dog eyes and see clearly. Who is this? Lydia's scalp hurt from the pulling, crying and begging for mercy. Adrien brother, I'm scared. I'm really scared. Scared? When you harmed her to death, why weren't you scared? Adrien took out a folding knife from his pocket, the cold blade against Lydia's face. 3 years ago, whose kidney was it really? Tell the truth, or I'll slash your face. Lydia trembled all over, teeth chattering. It was Nina. At that time she needed money, so I gave her some money, bought out this information. Adrien brother, I just love you too much, I wanted to become your lifesaver, so you wouldn't leave me. It was you after all. Adrien laughed miserably, raised the knife and struck. Instantly, a deep, bone-visible gash appeared on Lydia's face. Ah! Lydia's scream echoed through the entire crematorium. This slash is returning it for Nina. Adrien didn't stop, the knife tip sliding from her cheek to her waist side. There, the kidney's position. Since you like claiming credit so much, how about digging out your kidney to compensate Nina? Lydia was scared to incontinence, a urine smell spreading. No. Adrien, you're crazy. This is illegal. Illegal? Adrien laughed as if hearing a joke. When Nina died, why didn't you think if it was illegal? You forged medical records, intercepted my calls, even bribed doctors to conceal her condition. Lydia, dying 100 times wouldn't be enough to atone. He didn't really dig out the kidney, after all, that would be too easy on her. He had people drag Lydia out and throw her into the most terrifying severe ward of the mental hospital. And specifically instructed to take good care of her. After dealing with Lydia, Adrien returned to my side. He used a handkerchief to gently wipe the blood from my face, movements tender as if wiping a rare treasure. Nina, I punished the bad person for you. Don't be angry, okay? Let's go home. Ignoring the staff's blocks, he forcibly picked up my corpse and walked out of the crematorium. Outside, the snow was still falling. Adrien wrapped his coat around me, holding me tightly in his arms. Cold? Husband will take you home. This time I'll never lock you out again. I floated behind him, looking at his affectionate demeanor, feeling only ridiculous. Adrien, what are you doing? Acting affectionate for a ghost to see? Unfortunately, ghosts have no hearts. I won't be moved by you anymore. Back at the villa, Adrien placed my corpse on the master bedroom's big bed. That was once our warmest place, later becoming his and Lydia's Alyssa bed. He changed all the bed sheets and covers to new ones, in my favorite light blue. He went to the bathroom to run hot water, wanting to bathe me. But the corpse was already rigid, unable to bend. He tried several times, finally holding me sitting by the bathtub, crying like a helpless child. Nina, why are you so stiff? Soften a bit, okay? Hug me like before, okay? I was wrong, I really was wrong. I sat on the sink, quietly watching him go mad. Watching him hold a corpse and talk to himself, watching him torture himself into neither human nor ghost. Is this retribution? If so, it's not enough. Far from enough. Adrien guarded my corpse for 3 days. The body began to show livor mortis, even faintly smelling. The assistant paced anxiously outside the door, advising him to cremate and bury quickly for peace. Adrien turned a deaf ear. He turned the room's air conditioning to the lowest, attempting to preserve me this way. He began having hallucinations. Sometimes shouting my name at the air, sometimes talking to himself in the mirror. Nina, are you hungry? Shall I make you a cake? You like strawberry flavor the most, I remember. He rushed into the kitchen, clumsily starting to make a cake. Before, it was always me making for him. He never touched chores, couldn't even beat an egg properly. The kitchen soon became a mess, flour flying everywhere. He awkwardly brought the burnt cake to the bed, offering it treasure-like to my mouth. Nina, taste a bite, this is handmade by me. Though a bit burnt, it's very sweet. The corpse of course wouldn't open its mouth. But he was like possessed, insisting on stuffing the cake into my mouth. Cream smeared all over the face, looking comical and terrifying. Eat. Why don't you eat? Do you disdain my making is not tasty? Then I'll redo. I'll go redo now. He smashed the plate on the ground, turned to go to the kitchen again. At that moment, my uncle who hadn't appeared, brought a group of relatives bursting in. Adrien! Where did you hide my niece? She's dead and you won't let her be buried, you're inviting divine punishment. Uncle entered the door, smelled the room's odor, covered his nose almost vomiting. But seeing the room full of luxury decorations, his eyes lit up again. Nina is dead, her inheritance must be ours. You're the at-fault party, this villa, this car, all belong to us. Adrien stopped, slowly turned around. His eyes were empty and lifeless, still holding the flour-covered egg beater. Inheritance? When Nina was alive, you sucked her blood, dead, you still want to eat her flesh? Get out. Only one word, but carrying chilling killing intent. Uncle was startled, but relying on numbers, still brazenly shouted. Don't scare us. We're her relatives. This is a right granted by law. If you don't give money, we'll expose your wife abuse to the media. Let the whole world know the Goo Group president is a pervert. Adrien laughed. Laughed sinisterly and terrifyingly. Fine, go expose. Just right, I also want the whole world to know how you drove Nina to desperation. He clapped his hands, several bodyguards immediately rushed in. Break these people's limbs, throw them into the snow. Whatever freezing Nina suffered when dying, let them repay tenfold. Wails instantly echoed through the villa. Uncle's family was dragged out like dead dogs. Adrien didn't even glance, turned back to the bed, continued wiping my face. Nina, look, I drove away another swarm of flies for you. The air here is finally clean. From now on, just us two, no one can disturb us. Watching his almost pathological obsession, a trace of satisfaction rose in my heart. On the 5th day, the corpse rotted more severely. Even with air conditioning, the smell couldn't be covered. Adrien finally couldn't hold on. He fainted by the bed, high fever of 40 degrees. In dreams, he kept calling my name, hands grabbing in the air, like trying to catch something. The assistant took the chance to call crematorium people, forcibly taking my corpse for cremation. When Adrien woke, he saw only a cold urn. He madly rushed to the crematorium, wanting to snatch my corpse back. But it was too late. I had turned into a pile of ashes. He held the urn, knelt before the incinerator, crying heartrendingly. Why burn her? Why? I didn't even see the last glance. Give her back. Give her back. The staff were scared silent, only hiding far away. Adrien took the urn home. From then on, that spirited Goo Group president disappeared. replaced by a madman who held the urn all day, talking to himself. He handed the company to professional managers, locked himself in the villa. He began reading my left diaries. Those he found from a box under the bed. A thick stack, recording my 10 years of loving him. Today Adrien smiled, so handsome, for this smile, any suffering is worth it. Today is his birthday, I sold blood to buy him a watch, hope he likes it. Today Lydia returned, he seems not to love me anymore, heart hurts so much. Today diagnosed with stomach cancer, doctor said only 3 months, I want to see him one more time before death. Adrien, if you could turn back and look at me, how good. Every sentence read, Adrien's heart felt like cut by a knife. Those blood-weeping monologues became tools lingering his death. So, you were always waiting for me. So. I missed so much. He held the diary, curled on the floor, tears wetting the pages. Nina, I turned back. But you're not there. How can you be so heartless, not even giving me a chance to make up? I watched from the side, mixed feelings in heart. If only known today, why bother then? Belated affection is lighter than grass. Adrien began insomnia night after night. Only holding my urn, smelling the clothes I left, could he barely sleep. He began severe auditory hallucinations. Always feeling I was calling him. Adrien, I'm cold. Adrien, it hurts. Whenever this, he would wake startled, then search the house. Nina. Where are you? I won't let you cold, I'll hug you. But responding was only the empty room and echoes. News from the mental hospital, Lydia went mad. Unable to endure the torment inside, she scratched herself beyond recognition, shouting all day about ghosts. Finally, on a stormy night, she smashed into a wall and suicided. Death appearance miserable, eyes wide open, like seeing something extremely terrifying. When Adrien heard this news, he was wiping my urn. He didn't even lift an eyelid. Dead? Then throw to the mass grave to feed dogs. Don't dirty Nina's reincarnation path. Winter came again. A year since my death. In this year, Adrien aged rapidly, temples surprisingly white-haired. He emaciated beyond shape, eyes turbid, looking like an old man on death's door. This day, the first snow fell. Like the night I died, snow filling the sky, biting cold wind. Adrien wore the suit from the engagement banquet, chest pinned with that old tie clip I threw away but he picked back. He held my urn, came to Disneyland. He said to book the whole Disneyland to win a beauty's smile. Only that beauty became Lydia, and I became the onlooker. Now, he really booked it. The vast amusement park empty, only gorgeous fireworks blooming in the night sky. Nina, look, are the fireworks pretty? He pointed to the sky, gently smiling at the urn. Before, you said you wanted to come to Disneyland, I always said busy. Today, just for us two. What do you want to play? Carousel? Or Ferris wheel? He held the urn and sat on the carousel. Music started, horses up and down. Adrien's tears flowed uncontrollably. Nina, sorry. I really miss you. This world is too cold, without you, I can't live. Fireworks ended, the park returned to silence. Adrien held the urn, came to the park bench where we first met. Snow fell heavier, soon covering his shoulders. He didn't umbrella or avoid. Just sat quietly, letting snowflakes bury him. He took out a bottle of sleeping pills from his pocket. That he had saved for a long time. Nina, you said, on snowy days if no umbrella, can we walk to white hair together? We missed this life, next life, I'll find you early. Then, I'll chase you, I'll pamper you. Don't run too fast, wait for me. He tilted his head, swallowed the whole bottle. Then tightly held the urn, closed his eyes. Corners of mouth with a trace of relieved smile. Body temperature gradually lost. Consciousness gradually blurred. In life's last moment, he seemed to see me. Wearing a white dress, standing in snow smiling at him. Adrien, home. He reached out, wanting to grab that illusory figure. The moment hand fell, tears froze into ice. I watched his soul float from the body, blankly standing in the snow. He saw me, eyes bursting with ecstatic light. "Nina." He pounced towards me, wanting to hug. But this time I didn't stay. Body became lighter, more transparent. "I'm leaving. To that world without Adrien, without pain. Adrien, I don't hate you anymore. But I'll never forgive you. For all eternity, never meet again." I left him one last back view, dissipating in the wind and snow. Behind, came Adrien's heartrending cry. But no one would turn back anymore. Snow still falling, covering all sins and affections. Leaving only a vast white clean.